Hey YouTube fam, it's your girl Alicia and I'm back with another DIY video. So this is a part of my series of how to make a custom birthday dress. If you don't have my sewing patterns, definitely check it out on my website, kreativekraftingllc. I'll leave the link down below. But this is part 3 and in this video we're going to actually be putting the dress together. We're going to start off with our sleeves. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2, I will leave the links down below, so definitely check those out so you guys can get caught up. So in part 3, we're going to be attaching our sleeves and our collar, okay? And then there's going to be a part 4 and a part 5, okay? So in part 2, we had went to and pinned, we cut out our fabric and we pinned our sleeve and our collar pieces together in our dress as well. So now we're going to start on the sewing, okay? So first thing we're going to start on are our sleeves, okay? So we pinned up where the straight line of the sleeves are, and we're going to go ahead and sew a straight line across both of those sleeves. Okay, so this is the first one and I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm just going to go ahead and sew a straight line across. If you're a new sewer or if you are a beginner at sewing, don't forget to backstitch when you first start sewing. Okay, so you backstitch first and then you go ahead and you straight stitch across, and once you get to the end of this, you're going to go ahead and put a backstitch as well. That's how you lock your thread into place. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and sew a straight line across on both of our sleeves. This is super duper easy. Now I will say this: if you are making the garment as you're watching the video, while you are sewing the sleeves and sewing the collar, go ahead and plug in your iron and get that heated up, because after we finish sewing down our sleeves, our collar, and the shoulder part of our dress, we're going to go ahead and start ironing everything out and prepping it so that we can start pinning our sleeves on the dress as well as our collar. Okay, so yes, I'm just going to go ahead and sew down the other sleeve, and then after I finish sewing down both sleeves, I'm going to just go ahead and take out those pins. Okay, yeah, super simple, super easy. I'm gonna try not to speed up any part of the video just so that my beginner sewers can really get it. Okay, and excuse the lighting, I actually had to sew on my kitchen table because the lighting around my sewing table was kind of gloomy. It was raining out here, and it's been raining the whole week in Houston, so the lighting in my space has not been the greatest. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and take care of our collar now. So we're going to go ahead and just sew where the pins are. So we're going to start at the bottom cuff of the sleeve, if you want to call it that, the bottom edge, to the top point, all the way across to the other top point and the other bottom edge. We're leaving the bottom of the collar completely open. Okay, so yes, I'm just going to go ahead and sew, and then I'm going to show you guys how it looks once it's sewn. So we're only sewing the sides of the collar and the top part of the collar where our collar edges are. Okay, so the bottom part of the collar, guys, we're not sewing that. You want to leave that completely open because we have to turn this collar inside out after we finish sewing. Okay, but I'm going to show you guys after I finish stitching how it looks. So you guys' collar should look exactly like mine. So I sewed the side. I'm going to go ahead and sew across the top where the top point of our collar is, all the way over to the other top point of our collar. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and straight stitch all the way across. Don't do no zigzag, just straight stitching, y'all. Straight stitch all the way across to the other top point of the collar, and then we're going to go ahead and sew down the side as well, leaving the bottom part of our collar completely open. Okay, super simple, super easy. You guys, especially my beginners, follow these steps accurate. Okay, if you don't, your dress is not going to come out the way it's supposed to. So follow every single step accurately for a reason. Okay, so now I'm sewing down the side parts of the collar. Okay, and we're going to leave the bottom part of that collar completely open, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it, and then we're going to remove all of those clothing pins that we put in the collar. Then I'm going to, of course, turn it inside out and show you guys how it's supposed to look. Okay, and before doing that, I'm going to just go ahead and sew the shoulder parts of our dress. So we're only sewing the top shoulders. Okay, that's it. You only sew the top shoulders for right now, and that's it. So where those pins are at the top shoulder parts, we're just going to go ahead and do a straight stitch across, and that's it on both sides. And like always, make sure you back stitch first to lock your thread into place, and then you sew straight across. Okay, super simple, super easy instructions. I want to say your first time making this dress, of course, because it's your first time, probably will take you about 45 minutes. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be knocking out dresses in about 20 minutes, especially if you're making them to sell. You can definitely make a couple of these in a day, because I surely have done it from time to time. I think the most I've made in a day was about 8 dresses, to be honest with you. Now, I made all 8 dresses in one day, but then I designed them the next day. But as far as sewing time, just to completely make the dress, I want to say you can do about 8 to 10 of them in one day, depending on how many hours you want to be on a sewing machine for. But yeah, in about 20 minutes, once the pattern is cut out, 20 minutes of sewing time to knock out these dresses. They're super simple, super easy to make. So yeah, so now that I went ahead and sewed the other shoulder, I'm going to go ahead and cut the thread. And make sure you're cutting your loose threads, guys. I hate to see garments made with loose threads hanging around. I feel like it's so unprofessional and so unfinished looking. But yeah, these are how our sleeves look. I mean, our shoulder looks after we sewed it. And I'm just going to go ahead and take out the pins here shortly, and then we're going to start prepping and attaching our sleeves out in our collar. Okay, so now that I have my iron all warmed up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to prep and iron the sleeve pieces and the collar piece. This is very important. You can't sew them onto the dress until you iron and prep them. Okay, now that we have sewn them, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take out our pins if you haven't done so already. I'm just going to go ahead and take mine out, and then I'm going to open up the sleeve and lay it flat on the right side, so the wrong side is facing up. Okay, so you see how we have our seam facing up. So go ahead and lay it open and go ahead and iron your sleeve completely flat. Okay, you can't skip this step, guys. This is a part of making the garment. Don't try to minimize your time by cutting simple steps. These steps you need for the garment to look professional and finished. Then I'm going to go ahead and turn that sleeve around on the right side, and I'm going to go ahead and sew that down flat as well. You especially want to pay extra attention to your middle seam where your stitch is. Go ahead and sew that, iron that down as flat as you can. Perfect. So then I'm going to go ahead and fold it right there at the center where our stitch is, and then I'm going to go ahead and iron it again flat. Okay, so it basically looks like how it started out with the pins, but now it's sewn. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to iron that down flat. Absolutely perfect. Make sure that if you're using cotton fabric, make sure that your iron is set to the highest heat so that it'll come out super duper duper flat, because we need that as flat as possible. These simple touches make the garment look very professional and well made at the end result. Okay, so we do this for a reason. Okay, so that's how it looks. That's how I'm going to open it and show you guys how the inside looks. But we're going to go ahead and keep that closed, because that's how it's supposed to be. We don't care about the inside no more. We done with that. Okay, so this is how each sleeve should look after you finish sewing it and prepping it and putting that heat on there with the iron. Okay, that's one finished sleeve. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do the other sleeve the same exact way. Follow each step and each rule that as precise as you can. Okay, don't cut no corners, guys. We want this dress to look really really good, so we're going to go ahead and make everything the way it's supposed to be made. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the sleeve as well, and we're going to go ahead and iron that flat down the center just like we did with the first one. After we iron that flat, we're going to go ahead and turn it over on the right side and iron it down flat again. Then we're going to go ahead and fold it in half, and we're going to iron it down flat again. Okay, I know it seems very tedious, but it's not, and trust me, it's worth it, because the end result is going to be like, wow, this is really really nice. You know what I mean? So, and one thing I would also say is that attaching the sleeves onto the dress is probably the most tedious part of making this entire dress. That's probably the most tedious or annoying part. And if you're a beginner sewer and you're new to this, you'll see why here shortly. Okay. Sleeves can be a little challenging, but I have a few tricks to help you guys do it right the first time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fold that in half, and we're going to sew down again. And one thing that I will stress, definitely I will say this: please use a pinking shears, or some call it a zigzag scissor, to cut out your fabric pieces, especially when it comes to doing the sleeves, or when you are working with curved fabric. See how our sleeve is curved at the top? Okay, when you go to pin it on to your garment, you have to curve the fabric while you're pinning it. And the zigzag slits that the scissor gives the fabric, when you cut it, it allows it to make you curve the fabric easily. It makes it easier to maneuver and stretch the fabric while you're pinning it to your other fabric, if that makes sense. But I'll show you guys what I mean. So definitely don't use a straight scissor to cut this pattern out. Use a zigzag stitch if you can. If I mean use I'm sorry, use a zigzag scissor if you can. If you don't have you a pair of pink and shades, go ahead and pick you up for one at Walmart for no more than about $10-12, or get you one off of Amazon. Okay, but definitely, if you can, please get you a pink and shears to cut out your fabric pieces. So here is our collar. We're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the pins from our collar. And I'm just showing you guys how it looks. See how the side is sewn, the top part of the collar is sewn, and the back is left open, open. We want to keep that open so that we can flip it inside out. Before we flip it inside out, I'm going to go ahead and cut off a little bit of the points of our collar, because that helps. Once we flip it inside out, we're going to stick, we have to basically like poke out the ends of the collar. So cutting some of the extra fabric off at the collar tip, it helps with poking out the inside. Okay, it makes it more flat. So you don't want to cut it too far where you cut into your stitches. Okay, you could get it a little close, but you don't want to get it too close. Okay, just go ahead and cut off those little points. Okay, and after cutting off those little points, we're going to go ahead and turn the collar inside out. Okay, perfect. Just go ahead and turn our collar inside out, and then we're going to iron that flat as well. Now, one thing that I found that helps with sticking out the points of the collar, you can use a covered pen. Make sure that the pen has a top on there, and you can use a covered pen to help stick out the sides of the collar. Or if you have a pair of scissors and one end of the scissor is kind of dull, because with my scissors, one end is sharp, the other end is dull. So I'm going to use the dull end of the scissor and kind of poke it into the collar. I'm not stabbing it, okay, guys? Don't stab it. I'm just kind of, pushing it in a little bit so that it can push out the points of the collar, okay? But don't stab it. And even if you use a pen, a covered pen, don't stab it, okay? Because we don't want to pop open any of our stitches, okay? So now that we have done that, I'm going to lay this collar down flat. I'm going to kind of maneuver it from the inside out to kind of get it as flat as possible. Then I'm going to go ahead and start to iron down our collar, okay? Just iron it flat together, okay? Super simple, super easy. Do not skip this step, okay? If you skip this step and you don't iron the collar, when you're pinning it on, it's going to kind of look a little bit puffy. Okay, so we don't want that. We want this garment to look like perfectly made. Okay, especially if you're making these to sell. You don't want to cut any corners. You want to sell nice merchandise, nicely made. Okay, so yes, I'm just going to go ahead and continue to iron the collar down flat. Sometimes I might poke my hands in the inside, or just kind of pull the seam a little bit so that I can get the sewing parts or the seam of the collar. I can get that iron down really flat. Just kind of pull it to make sure that it's not gathering in the inside, so that you can get that iron to get that collar as flat as possible all the way around, especially on the top edge where we sewed, and on the sides. Okay, you want to get our seams ironed extremely flat, or as flat as you possibly can. Okay, please excuse me, guys. It's actually very late at night and it's raining out, and I'm trying to do the voiceover so that I can get this video up for you guys. A lot of people have been asking. I've literally got about 12 emails within 2 days of where is this video. So so I definitely am trying to push and get these videos out. The quicker I put the videos up, the quicker you guys can start making your garments. Okay, so yeah, and it's actually Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day night, actually. So if you are a mom and you're watching this, happy Mother's Day, or happy belated Mother's Day. Now that we have ironed out our collar flat, I'm going to go ahead and fold it completely in half where both of our points are touching each other. Then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and iron just put a little heat on one on the edge of it. So basically, I'm kind of want to put like a line in the center, like directly in the middle of the collar. Okay, you can also put a pin there, but sewing down the middle and getting that line is really all you need. We're going to use that line to help guide us to where we want the collar to be on the dress. So definitely make sure you iron that line into the collar just like I just did. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the pins out of the shoulder part of the dress and put those aside. Make sure you are cutting off your loose threads. Then I'm going to go ahead and turn our dress right side out, or yeah, right side out, because right now it was inside out, so we're going to turn it over onto the right side. Okay, because we also want to iron down our shoulder seams. Okay, so each shoulder sleeve, I'm sorry, each shoulder seam, got a little tongue twist, go ahead and iron those down flat. Okay, definitely, that's a must. Okay, because we're going to start pinning on our sleeves on both sides of our dress. Okay, so definitely iron down those shoulder seams. Here we go again. Iron them down really, really flat. Okay, and then go ahead and put your iron to the side, and let's go ahead and start pinning our our sleeves, I'm sorry, to the shoulders part of our dress. Okay, so this is how it looks so far. I'm going to lay the dress down flat so you guys can see how it looks so far. So it's coming together, definitely coming together. Okay, super easy. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to open it back up, and we're going to start to put our sleeves on. I'm just going to open it all the way and lay it down flat. Okay, because you have to lay it down flat in order to pin those sleeves on there and to iron and to sew it on as well. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and lay the dress down flat, and that big opening that we have right there by the shoulder seam, that's going to be where we put our sleeve. Of course, I know it's probably already obvious, but yeah, that's where our sleeve goes, right there in that little curve that we got right there by the shoulder seam. Okay, I'm probably going to try to point it out for you guys. So there's our shoulder seam right there, and then the curve right above that, we're going to go ahead and put our shoulder. I'll show you guys here in a second. Let me just get it open flat. Okay, so I hope you guys are following this. If you have any further, if you need any further help, definitely reach out to me and I will give you further help. But the videos, I'm trying to make it to where it's kind of self-explanatory, so you guys won't have too many questions. But if you do, definitely reach out to me. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab one of our sleeves, okay? And we're going to be sewing the curved part of our sleeve to the curved part of the dress, our shoulder, the curved part right there at the top. That's where the sleeve is going. Okay, I know you guys probably already know that, but just as a reminder for my beginners, that's where the sleeve is going. We want to start where the curve ends, or the beginning of that curve, to the other side. Okay, that's where our sleeve is going. So you go ahead and you line up the top, the edge of the sleeve, and go to the curved part, and you go ahead and you pin. Okay, now pinning it around the first time, it usually takes 2 times of pinning it around before it becomes accurate. When you're pinning this around, I need for you guys to stretch it and maneuver it, kind of curve it with your fingers while you're pinning. Okay, when you first pin it, especially if you're a beginner sewer and you're not used to doing sleeves, it's going to seem like the sleeve is not long enough. Then you're going to go back in and you're going to stretch some more, and you are going to repin. I know it might seem like it doesn't make no sense, but this is how it is. Okay, I'm just telling you guys what it is. So your first time putting the sleeve on, it might seem like it's a little bit too small, but keep on stretching and keep on pinning. What happens is, whenever you're dealing with curved fabric, sometimes it bunches up, and this is the reason why we have to go back in and stretch some more and repin, because we're going to get those bunches the second time that we pin. Now, because I've been doing this for a while, of course my first time pinning is, that's it. But as a beginner, and I'm making this video specifically for my beginners, so a lot of things that I'm going to be doing in this video is mainly for the beginners. So I am going to go ahead and repin in the video so that my beginners understand exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm just going to go ahead and keep on pinning, and as I'm pinning, I am stretching the fabric. And the zigzag slits in the fabric, that's why I said you must use, or it is recommended that you use a pinking shears to cut out your fabric pieces, because the zigzag cuts that the pinking shears made is what makes this fabric a lot easier to maneuver, especially the sleeves. When you're making the curves and stretching it, the zigzag stitches is what makes it easier to stretch and maneuver as you're pinning. Okay, so you definitely want to use pinking shears when cutting out your fabric pieces. Okay, now that I have made it to the end of the sleeve, you see how we got about a half an inch of fabric left over that we need to attach some sleeve to. That's what I'm saying. We got to go back in and we have to repin. So some of the fabric have bunched up. So once you go back in and you repin, is you're going to take out those bunches. Okay, so I'm just going to go in and I'm going to move the fabric. I know it might seem tedious, but I'm telling you guys, making this dress, this is the most tedious part of making it. Everything else is a piece of cake. This is the most tedious part. Okay, so we're just going to go back in and we're going to stretch again, and we're going to keep on pinning, and the second time around it comes out perfect. Just go ahead and take out pin by pin, stretch a little bit of fabric, put the pin back in. Super easy, super simple. Okay, I know it's tedious, but do it. Okay, because it's going to make the dress come out perfect. Okay, and you see how we have that little extra fabric bunching up? That's the extra fabric that we need to get the sleeve all the way to the other side. Okay, so keep on doing this, guys. Just a few more, and keep on stretching, keep on pulling, keep on stretching. Okay, and take out a pin, put a pin back in, keep on stretching. Just keep on, basically you're just rolling over your bunch fabric. Okay, that's basically all you're doing. You're stretching it out and you're rolling over the bunch fabric so that it can give you the extra length that you need to attach the rest of the sleeve to the other end of that shoulder. Okay, so keep on going, keep on stretch, and then put another pin in, and then we're going to slowly make our way back over to the other end. And this is, it's easy. It's tedious, guys, but it is indeed easy. Okay, that's one thing that I will say. I try to make my patterns as easy and beginner friendly as possible, because I know that everybody, a lot of people want to get into sewing, but they don't know where to start. So I try to make my patterns specifically for those type of people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so go ahead and keep on pulling it. And there we go. You see how we took out all those bunches, and you see how now it fits our shoulder curve. It fits it wonderfully. Okay, there we go. And we are ready to run this under the sewing machine. See that, guys? See how perfect it is? So definitely don't forget, I can't stress this enough. Follow each step exactly how I'm telling you guys to do it. I'm telling you guys for a reason. When I began making this dress, it took about, I think I made about 3, maybe 4 dresses before I got it right. And that's why I wanted to share the patterns with you guys, because it's trial and error. And if you don't really know what you're doing and you're trying, you're going to make some mistakes before you get it right. So I already went through the mistake process. So my patterns is ready. It's right. It's right. Okay. I wouldn't share it with you guys for you guys to buy it if it wasn't right. It's right. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run this underneath our sewing machine. Okay. So I'm going to start at one end and make it over to the other end. And very important, another important tip, okay, that you must do is that when you are sewing this, and you're going to see me doing it, and I'm going to tell you that I'm doing it while I'm doing it when you're watching it. But while you are sewing or attaching this sleeve to the shoulder, you want to stretch. You want to make sure that your fabric is not bunching up or anything while you're sewing it. And you want to make sure that your fabric is laying down flat. But I'm going to show you while I'm sewing so you guys can kind of, get the picture of what I'm trying to tell you guys. So we go ahead and we start sewing. Remember, you back stitch first, okay, and then you start sewing straight. Okay, hopefully my hand is not too much in the way where you guys can catch this, but I'm sewing, and then every couple of stitches you want to go ahead and stretch your fabric. Make sure your fabric is laying down flat. You see how I'm checking underneath it as well? You must do that, okay, because you can't see underneath while you're sewing, so you have to check every couple of stitches. Every couple of stitches you check, you lay it down flat, you pull your dress, like pull the sides of the dress to make sure that the fabric is laying down flat and the thing is bunching up underneath it. Okay, That way you won't make any mistakes where you would have to undo the sleeve and then redo it all over again, because that's annoying in itself. So go ahead, every couple of stitches, how you see me maneuvering and I'm checking and looking under to make sure that everything is laying down flat. You want this to lay down flat while you're sewing it, okay? It helps out a lot, and it minimizes any mistakes, okay, that you want it to come out as nicely as possible. So I'm just going to keep on stitching, and don't rush this. Don't just be zoom 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 on the machine, okay? Don't do that. Even if you a seasoned sewer, don't do that, okay? Because we want this to come out really really nice and flat and professional. So go ahead and stitch, and then go ahead and check while you're doing it, okay? Be light on the pedal, okay? You're not driving a race car. Just be real light on that pedal, okay? And then when you get to the end, you make sure you back stitch, okay? Then you go ahead and you pull that, and we're going to go ahead and cut the thread. And don't forget to cut the loose thread on the other side, guys. I can't stress this enough. Cut your loose threads, okay? Don't be leaving no hanging threads if it's a baby garment, okay? So I went ahead and cut my thread, and I'm going to take out the pins, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to flip the sleeve inside out, back to the right side, and show you guys how the first sleeve look on the dress, okay? Ooh, Lord. This is a whole lot of talking at 3 in the morning. Lord, Lord. Yes, let me go ahead and take out these pins and flip this over and show you guys how it looks, okay? Yes, ma'am. Filming at 3 in the morning just for you guys. And that, look how clean that sleeve look, y'all. Y'all don't tell me that sleeve don't look clean now. Now come on now, no bunching, no nothing, okay? And the reasoning is because we took our time, okay? So take your time. Now after we finish putting on both sleeves and the collar, we're definitely gonna go in and press again, okay? We're gonna press our dress because we want this to look beautiful. We want it to look amazing, so we want to make it as perfect as possible, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on our other sleeve. So go ahead and find the shoulder part of the other side of the dress, lay that down flat, okay? And I opened up, and I want to show you guys so far how it looks. This is how your dress should look right now. That's the back of our dress over there. Then the front of our dress is over here, and then we put on our first sleeve on one side, okay? Now we're going to do our second sleeve on the other side, okay? There we go, right over there from curve to curve. We're going to put our second sleeve right up in there, okay? Super easy, super simple, okay? From that point to the other point, that's where our second sleeve is going to go, just like the first sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab our sleeve, and I'm going to do the same thing that we just did. Now I'm not going to talk you guys through this one, since I already talked to you guys through the first one. If you are confused, go ahead and rewind it, but I'm going to just put the music on, and I'm going to go ahead and come back and show you guys after we sewed on this second sleeve, okay? Like I said, if you have questions, reach out to me. My email is going to be in the link in the description box down below, okay? I'm not hosting any classes yet, but I do plan to start hosting classes sometime in June. It'll be like a Zoom, and I'm not charging much for the classes. It's going to be like $50 classes. So for the people that still feel like they don't get it by watching the YouTube videos, then you can watch me do it live, and then I can answer your questions, and we can do it together on the Zoom, okay? Now for the classes, I am going to do optional starter kits where you can purchase a starter kit if you want. And the starter kits is going to be basically is going to have the pre-cut pieces of the dress. So basically you'll have that for the Zoom, so we can make the dress together on the Zoom, if that makes sense, okay? So it'll be a starter kit with the pre-cut dress pieces, so you don't have to cut anything. It'll come with a pattern. It'll come with whatever size dress you want to make. So if you say, hey, I want to do a 2T, I'm going to pre-cut you a 2T size dress. It'll come with the feathers. It'll come with the snaps, okay? And all you have to do is design it on your own. But as far as putting the dress together from start to finish before you design it, it's going to come with all of that. So yeah, let me go ahead and pin the sleeve, and I'm going to go ahead and come back after we sew this second sleeve onto this dress, okay? Something different. You must be made for me. Chasing this nothing. Difficult. Okay guys, so now that I got the other sleeve pinned on, I'm going to go ahead and run it under the sewing machine, of course. I just kind of wanted to come back and let you guys know that I'm looking at the length of this video, and as I'm adding the clips, I'm not going to be able to do the entire I wanted to do the entire creation of the dress in this video and do the design of the dress in a separate video and then show you guys how to make the matching ruffle anklets and hair bow. But because of the bandwidth, I guess I think it's called a bandwidth, whatever it's called. The software that I use to edit these videos, it don't allow me to do a video past 40 minutes. So I'm going to end this video after. I'm probably going to try to see if I can get up to us attaching the collar onto the dress. Okay, so in part 4 of the video, if I can get this video to where we attach the collar, part 4 of the video is going to be after attaching the collar. Of course, we would sew the remainder of the dress together and sew on the feathers, and I'll show you guys how to put the snaps on. Then the other video after that, which would be part 5, would be how we design it. If you choose to design it the way that I do, I use transfer paper. You can do whatever you want, but I am gonna do another part showing you guys how I designed the dress. The dress is gonna be Frozen theme, mainly Elsa. So I definitely want to show you guys the design process that I do to create my dresses. So yeah, I just want to come back and let you guys know that. And here, now that we finished putting on both sleeves, I'm going to go ahead and turn it right side out to show you guys how it's looking so far. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach the sleeves. I'm sorry, attach the collar onto this dress. I'm sorry guys, I know that I don't speak the best. I'm really trying, not because it's early in the morning. It's 3 in the morning right now, but I normally, regardless of what time it is, I speak weird anyway. Like, I'm trying so hard to articulate for you guys, and even saying that word in itself is a lot for me. Okay, articulate. I'm trying to articulate my words properly for you guys so you can understand. Okay, my parents are Jamaican. I'm from New York. I lived in Atlanta. It's a whole lot going on. Okay, so you kind of messed me up. Okay, so try to understand. Like I said, if you have any questions, definitely send me an email. So, okay, I turned the dress around to the back. Okay, and I went ahead and put a pin in the center of the back of the dress. Very important. Okay, remember, we're going to follow this step by step. We're not going to change nothing. We're not going to think we know everything and do what we want to do. We're going to follow the step by step. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the dress and I'm going to lay it down flat. Okay, and that pin that I just put, that's the center back, and we're going to match it with that fold that we made in that collar. And that's why I wanted you guys to fold that collar and press down on the fold so that we know where the center of the collar is. Okay, turn that collar upside down to where the open part of the collar is, and that's where we're going to start attaching our collar. Okay, so the open part of the collar that we did not sew, we're going to start pinning that part of the collar to our dress by the center of the collar. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense, but you guys watching me do it, you should definitely be able to understand. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pin around on both sides. Okay, so just go ahead and grab you some pins and start pinning around. Do one side first, then go back around and do the other side. Now, you're not going to pin all the way to the end, so I don't want you guys to be like, well, the collar is not long enough. No, the collar is long enough, but because we're not finished with the dress. So, when you're making something, it don't look the way, of course, it's supposed to look once you're finished. So don't get confused. Just go ahead and start pinning. Trust me, the collar is long enough. Okay, I made everything perfectly to size when I made this pattern. Like I said, I did a bunch of trial and error when I first began making these dresses, and my pattern is I've made a perfect pattern, basically. Okay, the trial and error really helped me out a lot in making these patterns where it's able for you guys to be able to use it and make the dress the same exact way as I did. So I'm going to go ahead and just pin that collar all the way around, and just like on our sleeves, guys, you want to go ahead and stretch a little bit and maneuver while you're pinning this around the neckline of the dress. Okay, don't be afraid. You're not going to tear the fabric, but you don't want to pull it that hard anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just lightly stretch it a little bit as you're pinning this around the collar. And as you can already see, your collar might seem like it's too small for the neckline of the dress because you're going to have about, I want to say, 2.5 to 3 inches of neckline left. But keep in mind that we're not finished. We're not finished. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my chihuahua. Okay, girl. She gets real excited when I rub her butt. Okay, Boba. Okay. Stop, stop. You're not a pig, so stop snorting like a pig. You're not a pig. I'm not gonna rub you no more. You keep on. I'm doing a voiceover. So okay. So now that we have pinned down our collar, we have about 3 inches left of neckline, but that's fine. Leave that. Remember, our dress is not finished yet. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pin the other side, and on the other side as well, you're gonna have about 3 inches of fabric or neckline left over. Okay. But don't worry about that. Trust me. In the end, it's gonna be a real cute dress. Okay. And if you're making this for a customer or you're making these to sell, they gonna love it, okay? Because let me tell you, when I first began making these dresses and I put them for sale, man, these people went crazy. you know, a lot of people make these Dickie inspired looking dresses, you know what I'm saying? But not everyone makes it really, really nice. I'm not bragging, or anything like that. But the dresses do come out really, really nice using my sewing pattern. So yes, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish pinning the collar around. And like I said, you're gonna have some leftover neckline, but it's okay. It's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. So once we finish pinning down, we're gonna go ahead and run this under the sewing machine. So that's it. Like basically the sleeves is the most tedious part of the dress. If you want to say the collar is as well, you can, but the collar is pretty simple. But the sleeve is the most tedious part. Once you have done the sleeves, everything else is super, super easy. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and we're going to sew this down. And just like with our sleeves, you want to make sure that you're laying the fabric down flat as you're sewing. So every couple of stitches, you keep on checking and go ahead and pull the fabric or do whatever you need to do to make sure that the collar lays down flat. Okay, because in the end, it'll make for a really nice collar in the end result of the dress. So I'm going to go ahead and run this under the sewing machine. I'm going to show you guys first how it looks so far. You guys can already see the dress form is coming together. I'm going to turn it right side out and lay it down flat and show you guys what we are working with. Okay, so this is how it looks now. This is how it looks. You can see it coming together. Okay, so definitely check back for the next part, which is going to be part 4. We're going to sew our collar and we're going to finish the whole neckline of the dress, and then we're going to basically finish the dress in part 4. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you guys so much, and like always, God bless.